Good morning, everyone. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and an idea in foreign policy which is slightly concerning to me and that I've seen growing in popularity here in the United States is this idea of what I call selfish foreign policy. So, the idea is this that the United States should look at relationships in foreign policy purely based on how that relationship can benefit the United States of America. So we should only be interested in our own selfish interests. And I think that this it's a very, very Machiavellian way of looking at the world. And I think that the introduction to this idea really comes from a guy named Henry Kissinger, who was, I believe, the Secretary of State under Richard Nixon. So his idea is all about power. So you should view foreign policy as increasing your power. And so how do you do that? You have to choose those countries are which increase your power the most. So at that time, it was the United States versus the Soviet Union. And so what his idea was is that the United States should look at which countries offer a strategic advantage to us to be able to either gain more power than the Soviet Union or to stop the spread of communism, right? Both of us wanted our ideas of the world to prevail. So the United States had our ideas which we wanted to, or our idea of society which we wanted to perpetuate into this world. The Soviet Union had their idea of what they wanted. And so an example of this would be that the United States should accept Turkey into NATO, and the reason is because NATO is strategically positioned to contain the Soviet Union on the Black Sea, right? And then also, like why we should go into the war with Vietnam is because of stopping the spread of communism, etc. The domino theory. So I'm not going to say if his idea was necessarily correct or not because I wasn't alive during that time, obviously. And the fact is that the United States did prevail, so I'm not going to say, like, oh, we shouldn't have done it because perhaps it was necessary to have that mindset during that time. But talking about right now, we're in a very different situation, and I don't think that the United States really needs to have this kind of mindset. The idea is that we are that foreign policy leaders, so the presidents and the people in Congress, all of these people, no matter which country it is, all of them are Machiavellian, and therefore if the United States takes a more idealistic approach, one which I am suggesting, that the other countries will just purely rip you apart, take advantage of you, and just destroy you essentially. Like, and I don't necessarily think that that's true in terms of if you choose the right friends. And so I'm using the word friend very specifically. I'm meaning just like the way that I select a friend, the way that you select a friend, an individual, not based on foreign policy. Just think about individual friends. Okay, this is my idea. When you're judging a friend, are you thinking, what can this person give to me? What advantage does me forming a relationship with this person? What does that give me? No, no, no. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about, is this a good person? Is this a moral person? Is this a person which I trust? Does this person have characteristics which I honor and value and that I would like to form a friendship with? That's what you're thinking about. Are they a fun person, right? Those are the kinds of questions which you are asking. And I think that it would be very feasible for countries to view foreign policy in this way as well. So I will agree that the foreign policy leaders, so the presidents and the people who make it to the upper echelons of the governmental systems in all countries, are going to be significantly more Machiavellian minded, because it's self selected for. If you have that mindset, you are going to rise up the ranks of the government. But especially in a democracy, the people who are in charge, if they want to remain in power, they are going to have to look at what the people of their respective countries value and what they want. And if you ask a person what they think of a particular country, normal American citizens are not thinking in terms of these geopolitical strategic alliances. If you talk with them, they think about if this is a good country. They talk about it very much in terms of what I just laid out. Like, is this a moral country? Is this a decent country? Do they have values of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom um do they torture their citizens, right? Like, all of these questions determine how we view if this is a good country or not. And so this is how a country can view a different country in very similar terms is as an individual does to another individual if they want to be a friend. And the idea that if the United States takes on this way of thinking, that we're just going to get screwed over by the respect or the different country. Well, what about those countries, right? Like Japan, for example. So if you talk with the people of Japan, right, their leaders are probably very Machiavellian as well. The same reason. But the people of Japan, I highly doubt are thinking in that terms. They want to form alliances with other countries that they view as having good, decent, moral, honorable governments. They look at the people, right? Like, they would see England and say, okay, these are honorable people. These are trustworthy people. And so, therefore, they are going to naturally have a predisposition to want to join with England. And so, I do not think that it is quite necessary for us to think purely in terms of what benefit this relationship will bring to us. I don't if And there's a stipulation though, if the other country is also a friend. So there's friends, there's allies, and then there's maybe other, right? So an ally, you can say, is those countries which are strategically important, right? So the United States is friends with Saudi Arabia, not because we really like the way they do things, but because they kind of have a strategic advantage. And they're friends with us, and not because they really like the way we do things, but because we offer them a strategic advantage. We sell them a lot of weapons. We both don't like Iran, right? So there's different reasons why we would just partner up, but it's not a core, like, I like this country. It's different than the way America views France or England or South Korea or Japan and all of those different countries. There's All of those countries are friends. Why do I like England? Is it because they can offer me a tangible benefit? No, although they do, right? That's not the point. I'm saying that's not the reason why I like them. I like them because I think that they are a good, decent, honorable society, and I think that Americans should not fall into this idea that we need to look at every single relationship which the United States has and say, if this country is not able to provide us a benefit, we should just disregard them and throw them away and try to change the relationship so that it is advantageous to us. And an example of this would be like South Korea, for example. Should we simply say, well, why are we spending so much money on military bases in South Korea? We're paying for their protection. Why not just let the North invade? Like, seriously, if we are only viewing things in terms of selfish policy, why not? The only reason North Korea hates America is because America supports South Korea, right? So if the United States didn't support South Korea, we'd let North Korea invade South Korea, and then we work with North Korea, right? And strategic, or it would probably be we wouldn't be wasting money in South Korea. We would be able to get a partner with North Korea. We could do trade or whatever they want to do, right? So why are we doing that? Oh yeah, because North Korea is a horrible, horrible regime that tortures its own people, that has concentration camps, that does not offer any freedoms at all. And South Korea is an amazing country which has strong freedoms. And this is also extremely important. The people of South Korea are willing to fight for those freedoms. I'm not saying that the United States should force our ideas. Not like Afghanistan, right? The people of Afghanistan didn't want the American way of life. They didn't want a lot of the governmental policies which we had. They didn't. That's not the society in which they wanted to live. And I think that the United States should respect that, and we should let them live in accordance to how they want to live, right? Like, they are citizens of Afghanistan. I think that they have a right to determine how they want to live their life. But for those people who are willing to fight for their freedoms, who set up a successful society, that are trying to create a good society, like South Korea, the people are have been determined to keep those freedoms which they have, to keep that good form of government, the honorable, good society. And I don't really care if the United States is at an advantage or disadvantage in our relationship with South Korea. And I think it's very destructive for Americans to constantly be thinking about every single governmental foreign policy solely in terms of how this country can benefit us. I think instead it would be much better for the United States, or not for the United States, sorry, I'm talking to citizens. For us, as citizens of the United States, to think about, is this a good country? Is this an honorable country? Is this a trustworthy country? And if it is, the United States should support that country and try to help those societies which we view as good and moral and decent to grow. And a perfect example, Japan is an absolutely amazing example of this. When they've attacked America, they did horrible things in China, South Korea, Philippines, to American soldiers, etc. When we won the war, did we go and just punish them? No, 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 no. We tried our absolute best to help build them up. We built back the country. We gave them a democratic system of governance, and they have done an amazing job of taking those basic freedoms and creating an amazing society out of it. And if the United States is significantly more focused on trying to help those societies which we think should perpetuate within the world, I think that many of those countries will become more and more successful. And if you like if you want to think about it in terms of selfish foreign policy, it actually would benefit the United States significantly, because those countries which are in line with a good society are inevitably going to be friends of the United States. Japan is a friend of the United States. South Korea is a friend of the United States. And they are, by virtue of them being honorable, this it gives the United States a significant advantage. So not only do I think it is the moral foreign policy position, but also I think that it is significantly more effective. And I think by even talking about foreign policy in such cynical ways is very detrimental, because how are those other countries going to be viewing things, right? They're going to be, oh, America just wants us because we have a certain benefit that we're giving to them, and they're going to view the relationship as simply a transactional one. That's that's not the way I think we should be going about things. We should be saying, no, we're not supporting you because you give us you are geopolitically strategic. You're in a geopolitically strategic location, or you have a particular resource that we desire, or you are good at creating semiconductors, or any number of reasons, right? We shouldn't even be talking about that. We should be talking about, is this a moral society? We support you not because of your advantage that you can give to us, but because you are a good society and we respect you. That's how I think that we should be framing foreign policy. And so thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day. And also, let me know what you think about what I said. Do you think I am being completely naive in my assessments, or do you think that I'm correct? Do you think, what are your thoughts? Anyways, have a good day.